local history, local culture, local events, your community. This is the Joe Kelly Show.
And welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Our guest is Anthony Picente Jr. He is the Oneida County executive, and lots of things are happening in Oneida County. We're going to talk to him about those things. But first, we're going to say welcome. Good to see you again.
It's great to be back again.
Thanks. Where do we start? I don't know. The Skydome is on my mind. What's going on up at Griffis with that Skydome?
Well,
what is the Skydome?
What is Skydome? Skydome was a vision we had some years ago as we started developing the UAS, the unmanned aerial system technology.
Or like people like me call it drones.
Drones, the drones that are almost commonplace now and getting more and more in terms of people maneuvering them and as a hobby, but more importantly, a lot of research being done on them up at Griffis. Numerous companies that are invested in drone development and research, and drones are in all sizes, as you know. Everybody thinks it's just the little ones that fly around in some of the. In some of the events, we use them at the Boilermaker to monitor. The sheriff's office used them to keep an eye on the crowd and such. But so with the test site that we have at Griffis and all of the work that's being done there in terms of radar systems, the development of the corridor between Rome and Syracuse for drone activity, really is expanding more and more. But Skydome is now what we believe is the largest indoor test site in the United States. Now, there are 7 test sites, approved test sites by the federal government, of which Griffis is one of them. But we do and have done testing in and outdoors. But Skydome, which is one of the converted hangars, which is approximately 60,000 plus square feet, but has ceilings that are tremendous in height, was completely converted and renovated to an indoor test site with, if you look at it now, it doesn't look as much, it still looks like a hangar in terms of size, but the walls and the testing capability that it has allows for indoor testing to be done with drones. So they can go from indoors to outdoors, outdoors in. And some would say, what are the benefits of that? Well, the development of drones and the research, in terms of improving indoor access, because drones can be used indoors and are in terms of public safety, in terms of emergency situations, in terms of, whether it's fire or rescue or tragic other type of situations that may occur, as well as intelligence with the Air Force Research Lab that is a big part of what's happening up there. So Skydome was a $13 million project, which included $9 million from the state, $4 million from the county to develop and enhance this test site. So it really now expands our capacity of what we're doing.
Now, which hangar is this?
It's in the original what was called Building 100, which is the main hangar where Innovari is, where the Open Innovation Campus and everything is, where we remodeled that, just the year before, actually during COVID. So Skydome opened up just a couple months ago, and testing is being done as we speak.
Now, you're the second or third person that has mentioned Rome-Syracuse corridor. And what is the Rome-Syracuse corridor?
So when the test site was developed, and we started enhancing, working with the state of New York and certainly our partners, the test site is really a partnership, although it's the license and the permit is all owned by Oneida County. We've developed a rapport with our partners in Onondaga County and the universities, between MVCC and SUNY and Syracuse University and the like, and the airport there and the guard base out there. The corridor was designed, in conjunction with the state to do testing, but also to establish a pathway of uninterrupted access so that unmanned aircraft could travel from Utica to Rome and in the surrounding region for the things that I mentioned, whether it's public safety, whether it's in the future delivery systems, whether it's for other types of review of topography and flooding and other means of research and development.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it used to be at Hancock Airport, you had the boys from Syracuse.
Right.
They were flying fighter jets. But those have been replaced, have they
They've been
not?
replaced, but they're still there. There's still a unit, out in Syracuse that is, just outside of the city there, that in which the Guard has the capacity and is using unmanned aircraft systems.
Yeah.
For that.
The future of this, I mean, it's kind of staggering when you think about it, the future of drones. I mean, you read articles and they're talking about delivering pizzas and they're, all kinds of stuff.
Well, we know that many of the retail companies and the online services like Amazon's and others are looking at drone delivery and on smaller items in which depending on where they establish a warehousing or distribution facility, they can do that. So we're also looking in the years ahead that perhaps something like that, whether it's a Walmart, whether it's an Amazon, whether it's a Target, any of the other major manufacturers or major retail establishments will start looking at delivery, but also in terms of maybe it will be a pizza someday or whatever.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. So would it be exaggeration to say that Oneida County is on the leading edge of this?
Well, there's no question. And Skydome really, first of all, the radar systems we've established, the operations center that we have in Griffis really established us as a premier testing site. And we have, as I said, universities and companies established at Griffis, and our goal is to grow that job base. Obviously, MVCC has expanded that with their programs, but Skydome really does now put us, even more so on the map and really expands our, as I said, our capacity to do more, but also invite more in. The benefit, again, going back to the Air Force Research Lab and what, that anchor does for us in terms of intelligence and working with many of the companies that are up there as well as other companies, but with the Air Force Lab, with the colleges, with companies like Navmar and Microdrones and others that are doing this work, it really is now putting us at the forefront. And when you go to Skydome and see the size of it and what can be done and within there, that's going to change the whole landscape.
Way back, I worked up at Griffis as a civilian. That hangar was so big that we played baseball inside that hangar.
Right.
Tony Picente is our guest. We're talking about Oneida County stuff. We'll talk about more right after this short break. And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Anthony Picente Jr. is our guest. He is the Oneida County Executive, and we're talking about a variety of issues impacting Oneida County. We talked during the first segment and during the break about how that Air Force Research Lab, we used to call it Rome Lab way back in the day, has really kind of been the thing that has pulled all this stuff together. People wanted to be around Rome Lab, and that lent to more and more and more. I think an analogy to that is and you tell me if you think I go wrong on this, I think the Utica Comets played a similar role. It got the auditorium back on its feet. Now we've got the Nexus Center. We've got stuff going on downtown Utica. I think the Comets really had that same impact.
Well, there is no question about that. I mean, we talk about it often, and certainly Nexus is an offshoot of that, and really it was the birth of that, of the Comets that led to the birth of Nexus in regards, and we're months, just a couple months away.
Tell people, Anthony, if you would please, what Nexus is.
Nexus is a adjoining sports facility next to the Adirondack Bank Center, the Utica Auditorium, as most people are familiar with it. It will have 3 additional sheets of ice for tournament play, of which their Utica College women's hockey will have one of those rinks, for their home rink, as Utica. I got to correct myself. Utica University.
That's right.
I hope
that's going to be
a
hard
mistake
one.
there.
That's a hard
I
one.
apologize, and as a graduate from there. Utica University's women's team will have one of those rinks, but they'll also, the 3 will be involved in tournament play, along with the main rink at the Adirondack Bank Center. So what you'll have downtown is a major sports complex that can handle multiple hockey teams for tournaments on the weekends. We know that, and we're already booked beginning November into past next summer and beyond for tournament play. Those rinks can also be converted for soccer or lacrosse if necessary for also tournament play. And we know that Utica FC soccer is a big part of the Aud as well. So Nexus is really going to add to the vibrancy of the downtown of the U District and of growing, the overall hockey and soccer and then entertainment. And it can be used. Nexus will have 3 floors, of which they will have, different amenities, restaurants, coffee, different things for people to enjoy while they're watching their kids play or their other people play. And it'll have other amenities. Utica University is going to have a sports medicine and management classrooms in that establishment to further enhance what we're doing.
What about
sports.
parking?
Parking, obviously, we're in beginning phases now of the construction of the parking garage that will be attached or connected to the MVHS Wynn Hospital, which will accommodate that. But behind the Aud and Nexus, as we talk on the Whitesboro Street side, in conjunction with the completion of Nexus, we're going to do a complete overhaul of streetscape and parking. We'll add about 800 to 900 spots in the back, new lighting, new crosswalks, just a real, overall entertaining, area, because the main entrance of Nexus is on that Whitesboro Street side. It's not on the Oriskany Street side as the Aud one is, but then the main entrance will be, from Whitesboro, so everything will be behind there and be, lit. As I said, new streetscape, really, and we're pushing it because it's August now, and we have to be ready for November.
Yeah. So does the county own that whole strip that runs
We
down?
don't own that. We don't own all of it. We own, actually the Aud Authority owns a big part of it. Some of it is still owned by the city of Utica. We are in discussions about that, but we are along with the Aud Authority, the main contributor, and it's a joint project between us and the Aud Authority on Nexus. So
pretty big project.
it is, and it was again another one of our, one of the visions that we put together in working with Rabesh and the Audit Authority in terms of what can we do next after the comments exploded the way they did.
Yeah.
In the best sense of the word, to add to the, as I say, what the entertainment value and sports and everything else that the audit and once we completed that renovation, we had always or during that we had always had our sights on adding sheets of ice next door, and if you drive by there, it's a remarkable facility, and people are going to be blown away when it opens up.
I see online the other day you were down there taking a tour.
I was.
Yeah.
I was. We've been following, the various progress, looking at different ways.
Do you think it's going to be open on time?
I do.
Okay. The other thing I should have mentioned when we were talking about Griffis was that housing up at Griffis. Boy, I tell you, that housing up there is really nice. Is that all sold out?
It seems that as soon as they built, as soon as they added, the first two got filled, immediately, and then the next two, even before they were starting building, had waiting lists. As I understand, those two are filled, or at least with the waiting list on some, because they're completing those. And then there's another one, and then there's another piece of the Woodhaven property, which had the base housing, which you remember for many years, which is really just off of Griffis Park, down across from where MVCC in Rome is, and they are building homes over there in that neighborhood. So it really is, the housing piece at Griffis is something that we had, again, way back in '95 when everything closed, looking at the whole redevelopment, or in the late '90s and early 2000s, about what Griffis would look like as a business and technology park, and would housing be a part of it? We weren't, obviously didn't know whether that would work, but it's working very well, and credit to the mayor for her, her movement on that.
Yeah. I should have Mayor Rizzo come back on and talk about that kind of stuff again. The thing that surprises me, and the mayor of Utica is going to be on the show soon, maybe next week, Mayor Palmieri, and I'm going to ask him this question, but I would be interested in your thoughts on it as well. Who's taking all these lofts? Who's taking all these apartments? I mean, it just seems like...
Well, but people are taking them. The younger generation, again, we can talk about that. It's a different world today. So whereas, the young professionals starting out, which we all did, when you get married or even before that, you buy a home and you start developing it. It's different today. Not so much today. It's about loss. But then again, there's people in our age group that want to shed the responsibility of the homes that we're in, and look to downtown living, or in the case of Griffis, in a business park in which there's walkability, I mean, easy access in and out, not the issue of maintaining snow and ice and grass and all the other stuff that those of us do, but so there's really not one particular age group or demographic that's doing it. It's everybody. It really has changed today.
And I'm thinking this is all reminding me of Wolf Speed. So when we come back, I want to talk about Wolf Speed with the county executive. Short break, right back. And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. United County Executive Anthony Picente is it pronounced Picente or Picente?
Picente.
T. I want to glamorize it a little bit.
Thank you.
Is our guest, and we're talking about Oneida County issues. The thing that I can remember very clearly, and in fact, Ralph, Yenis was the county executive. He actually launched an initiative to bring people back to Oneida County because we were losing population, which you pay some penalties for as your population goes down. What's the situation with is it going down still, staying even, going up?
It's pretty even. I mean, the projections were that, especially over the last 10 years, that Oneida County was going to lose a lot more population than it did. It did not, and that's the good news. Now, it stayed about the same, which is very good. A lot of factors played into that. Obviously, refugees, immigrants, that we've always been a community that has welcomed and has been built upon. Stop that loss. But more recently, more of our young people are staying here. But we talked a lot about technology today because of Skydome, because of the Air Force Research Lab, Rome Lab, because of other companies that are investing here. We've transitioned from somewhat of the manufacturing hub that we were in the 50s and 60s and 70s to a strong technology base, and certainly Wolfspeed, which opened up officially in April, was really a highlight of that, and has attracted and continues to work, as well as the other companies that I mentioned before, in that technology base in which young people are moving here, staying here, and with the other pieces that we've talked about too, about having more to do here, there is a lot more to do here than there was 15 years ago, and that whole change has kept our population where it's at. Now, I certainly, as county executive, I want it to grow. I want to see us have more, because more people helps us in attracting more capital from the federal government, from the state government, but we've got a lot of growth taking place, and my hope is, again, as you look down the road with MVHS, with Wynn Hospital opening up next year, as Nexus grows, as we continue to expand at Griffis, that the population will do the same and grow with us.
I'm going to give you some homework.
Okay.
I had Frank Tomato on the show, well, not as often as I'd like.
I'd
like to have him on all the
love to
time.
listen to Frank.
Yeah, as do I. And we were talking about Utica's loom to boom. And it was Carl, oh boy, I can't remember who he was, last name, who came up with that loom to boom. We went from the cotton mills to the Chicago pneumatics and the GE and the Bendix. I think we could use another term, loom to boom to something else.
Okay, we'll work on that.
So work on that.
We'll work on that.
Because with all the technology that's here right now and coming in, so there's your homework.
It really is.
What's Wolfspeed doing for us in terms of employment?
Well, there's over 200 and continues to grow every day. The fact that you have the world's largest silicon carbide fab here in Oneida County is really doing wonders for us in terms of the marketplace, and continues to help us as we try to attract more and another fab for that site, which we think we have good possibilities at doing. Just to have that, I mean, I think to see the size of that facility, what it can do, what it has done, and the investment by, the other point is, it's not just about the jobs. There's got to be investment by the company itself. And Greg Lowe, the CEO, and his team have really embraced this area and continue to, move people here, but also attract people here and keep people here. I think that's the recipe for success.
And these cars don't run without those.
They don't. Electric vehicles, and that's something we're doing more.
Talk about that real quick. We got less than 2 minutes.
We're going to be doing. We have electric vehicle charging dashboard that we just unveiled, so that people that have electric vehicles, because it's growing, like the drones on one side, electric vehicles are becoming the norm. Manufacturers are only going to be developing, some of them, only electric vehicles over the next 5 and 10 years. We are going to do charging stations in the new garage for the hospital. We're going to start out with about 70 and then be able to work our way up to a couple hundred. But we're also going to look at them in other parts throughout the county, working with the Power Authority, working with other partners. Electric vehicles are here to stay, and we need to get them to be more affordable so that they can do what they're designed to do.
And if somebody goes to the Oneida County website, it tells you how many electric vehicles are in Oneida County.
Electric vehicle dashboard.
Yep. And how many charging stations there are and
where
they are.
And where they are. And that's going to, that's going to continue to get updated so that people will be aware of it.
We got 30 seconds, but I just wanted to mention in closing, a good friend of mine and yours, Jean O'Neill, just passed. And I wanted to just mention her name.
Absolutely.
She was a dedicated Oneida County employee.
Great public servant, the city of Utica, and for us at the health department for a number of years, and just a really bright and always smiling woman.
Oh, she was. She was. That's it for this week. Come back. We
got a lot more to talk about.
We got a lot more to talk about. And we'll see you next week. We'll do it all again. Don't forget cnyhomepage.com. Speaking of websites, there's a lot of good stuff there too. Until next time, take care of yourself, everybody.